Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope you are doing well. Happy Monday, April 21st. If you celebrated yesterday, happy holidays. If you celebrated Easter as well, happy Easter. Today is Easter Monday, if I'm not mistaken. So I hope you're having a great day. And I hope tomorrow, we'll talk about this tomorrow, but I hope you're having a great Earth Day tomorrow morning. Because we won't see each other between now and tomorrow afternoon. So have a good Earth Day tomorrow. All right. Maybe we'll use that in our sign off at the end of the day here. I am excited about today. We are going to have a great show. As we always do. I don't know why there would be anything different. Shout out to the chat going nutty, bang, bang. Let's go, guys. Before we get too far, make sure you smash that like button. You know the drill. Speaking of like button and knowing the drill, we got the homies doing their thing, locking up some medals today. My guy Blocky bringing home the gold medal. He's also on the show with me today. We're going to be looking at charts, opportunities. I got to show you this LeapFrog thing again. My God, it's working. I just got, after it popped up, touched the daily VWAP, which is what I was chasing. But then came down, it flew down and stopped me out of profit. But I still got 27% out of it. So we nailed another trade with this thing. Fuck, guys, make sure you go to the description and you click on the link and join the Phemex trade team. I'm going to start showing more information so you guys can get in these things. I mean, I tell you literally in the chat group on Twitter, but we'll if you need somewhere else where I can hold your hand a little bit better, I'll tell you like when I'm getting in these things. I told you today, guys, I just went long on Ando and I'm going to show you why, okay? Let's see here. But really quick, let's go through the medal count. So Blocky getting the gold. We get Flying Ride 2 with the silver. Hello, fam. Shout out to you. And then Doom picking up the bronze, my guy. He says actually second. Oh, because he's, I see. It's like if you're like one of the family members or whatever of the show, you are disqualified. And because he is like the guest, the co-host today. It doesn't count. You know what, Doom? Thank you. So we're gonna reflip the script here. My guy, Flying Ryan 2, picking up the gold. Congratulations, fam. And then you got Doom getting silver and Mike Lowry picking up the bronze. Let's go. What's up, Jesse? What is up, Crypto Princess? Hope you are doing well. I believe we're doing a collab this week. Let's touch base. I will get in Discord later today, and then we'll set that up. Make sure that we got the right days. Mike Volmer, what is up, fam? And then Not Funny Man. How's that fart coin long? I ended up making pretty good money on some of those. I was in and out of that a few times over the weekend. So let's go. I'm telling you. I'm going to show you. And Blocky, he was telling me before, he's like, man, I still don't get like what you guys see in that VWAP indicator. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm going to show it to him, and I'll show it to you guys too, because here's the deal. Like, literally again today, it did exactly what I thought it was going to do, because it was going to tell you what it was going to do. So it made a clear separation from where it was in the daily. It went down, touched a previous daily plus the previous week to date, which makes sense because it's the new one, and then came back up and touched the daily again. Bada boom, bada bing, man, we're nailing them. So make sure you guys smash the like button. I'm talking to you right now. Smash that like button. Also, make sure you hit the noti bell so you know when all these things happen and go live and all that stuff. Make sure you're following over on X. Get in the group with us and click the link and trade with us on Phemex. You do not need the KYC. You do not need a VPN. I've taken care of everything for you. I've whitelisted my account so you guys can just get in there and trade and have some fun. There's a trade competition going on. There's just a few days. So unless you got big money, probably not going to win it. But you can get in there, and there's other different thresholds to win some prizes in the Phemex trade competition. So link down below, get up in there. Speaking of link down belows and getting up in there, down below in the description also is the links to my guy Blocky, who's hanging out with us today. And speaking of, boom, there he is. What is up, homeboy?
What is good? What's popping?
I said, you know what? I was gonna call you homie, and then I also was gonna say homeboy, and somehow my brain like mixed it up, and I think it was like a weird new word that nobody ever needs to use again. Yeah. We're just gonna say, I'm gonna try that again. What's up, homie?
Not much, man. What's happening? How's everyone today?
Good. Monday, weekend was great. It was a holiday weekend for most, in some way, shape, or form, depending on how you celebrate and what you celebrate. But it was good to be with some fam and do some things. What about you? What'd you guys do for Easter?
Went down the shore and just hung out with family and shooting a little bit.
Don't just say a little bit. We got to see that video. You guys were pulling out the big gats.
Yeah, it's always fun doing that, man. It relieves a lot of stress in my eyes. Take a break from the charts, like you always say, touch some grass and just hang with family,
Yeah, facts.
So my fault, I was a little late. I was letting the dogs out, and if I mute at any time, it's because the dogs are freaking. So
You're all good. Okay, so I was just basically doing a little open, chit chat and shooting the breeze, opening things up, and I was saying that we've been talking about this LeapFrog indicator that I did with a show with Flopping Groper that I'm using on my charts now. And I want to bring this up because we're going to use probably your charts for most of the show and what we're talking about and all that stuff. But I want to bring this up, and we can switch back totally. Like I'm just for example, but let me bring up the Ando chart, and this is
that's much. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Boom, there we go. So you can see exactly what happened here today, and so this is what I was chasing, right? We were up in the daily. We made some separation here. So at 8 p.m. Eastern, my time, is when the new daily starts on this thing, right? So if we were to say right here, right, you can see where the new daily started, right down here.
All right.
And clearly it made a separation. And so we became this right here. Now today, later this morning, it looks like around 11, we started to see this thing tumble. And when this thing got down into this range right here, you notice a couple things. One, we went below the week to date, the previous week to date. So we came down. This was like, all right, we're going to kiss some zones. There was nothing down below it besides the month to date. There's no reason to really think about, and I say clear it out like it's a CME gap, but that's how it just works in my brain, right? And so I believe, like leaps is really what there really is, it leaps between the different VWAPs. And so what had happened was, okay, there was a big jump between where we were sitting and the daily VWAP was. And so I said, all right, man, here's the thing. We're going to go long on this. So we went long down here. I forget here, order history. So I went long at 84.70. So it was, down here, right in the top of the green zone, right? But I knew we had a lot to go, and so this thing chased up. Do you see what happened?
So your idea on it is like, okay, you're moving. The further you move away from that daily VWAP, and you're always going to come back to the daily VWAP because it always snakes around it.
It's like a magnet. Yeah. Right. And you can't really back test it because of how like the line changes on a daily basis. But the whole idea of these lines act as a magnet compared to the current price and where they are. Like now there'll be days where it's a short opportunity, right? I would say this would not have been a short that I wanted to take. I don't generally short anyway. I will every now and then if the conditions are right, or you're kind of like generally the consensus of where things are going. But normally I don't like to short. So like I had put out a tweet earlier saying I was really waiting for really to catch back up to where we were with some of these other lines, and it did that. It did just that because that's what it does every day. Again, this is like a little magnet game of how it just again leaps from
Right.
you know where it needs to. So again, if you to zoom in on this thing, I mean, you can't even make that shit up. That fucking thing wicked up right to the daily.
Right.
That's when you and I, right before we were on the show, when it went whoosh, and you heard me get wicked out of my order for profit, and it was still like 27%, but it wicked up there and then shot back down. And I'll tell you what, man, it's crazy. It's crazy how you can it's not like, you know, you might not have gotten in that trade at that line because it happened so fast, but
Right. Like Doom just said, if you had a market cipher support and resistance with LeapFrog, you'll see other support and resistance areas. Yeah. And Princess, I don't think I have anybody in there that's blue. I don't know where Brian is today. I still haven't modded nobody but Brian.
I know I didn't even get one either. That's all right. That's I mean,
Christ, I'm a mod in there. I guess I can mod some too.
So let me, does this answer any of your questions about kind of how the LeapFrog thing works? And really it's until you like go deeper in, I still have to go deeper into really more of the strategy and how things work. Cause again, I'm playing with this on a daily. I haven't really ventured into the weekly or the monthly or the yearly or how that's all going to work. I know that it will, but you know, as we switched over from the week, right? From, because one thing I did notice, Monday is the new week versus Sunday in this trading thing, which makes sense, even though you can trade crypto 24/7. But you know, Monday is the beginning to the new week. So I'm paying attention to that now to see, because as you can see, what happened today is it did come down out of nowhere, right? Out of nowhere, you know, it pumped up, but it came back down to touch the weekly, the previous weekly and the previous daily, only to touch the daily and then reject from that and come back down to where it was for most of the day.
Right. I gotcha. So you're working on it on like your daily VWAP. If you start getting further away from that, you're going to trade back up to it or back down to it if it was up.
Yeah, depending. Yeah. Like I think I just like I want to do this in phases, right? Like I want to learn it in phases and really kind of like perfect it. So like right now I'm using it on a scalp basis, right? And then, you know, I may start to figure out how to use it maybe to day trade and then get more, you know, because everybody, I get envious and I tell people all the time, small wins stack up. Like that's, you know, $140 or whatever it was, 27% is not chump change, but it's not, you know, when you see Crypto Face making $3 million or $300,000 in a trade, like you get trade envy. But at the end of the day, like if you can emotionally detach yourself from that and just remember like 27%, like $100 here, like my goal is $300 every day that I trade. If I can do that, that's well over $100,000 of extra income a year for my family, right? As long as you just remember to pull your profits and you stick to your plan and stick to your goal. Obviously, some days it's like the 1% better thing every day. Like some days you do more than 1% better. Some days you do more than 1% less. You know what I mean? Like you take it's a give and take relationship, but as long as you are constantly building and growing and you know, finding new tools like this that help you. Again, it's not that I'm 100%, but damn near 99% with this thing. And again, it's really smaller tests, smaller loads. You know, maybe $100. This one that I'm in was 500. This was probably the biggest trade that I've done so far, purely on the LeapFrog indicator.
Right. I mean, that's good stuff. I know Doom and the guy that I've been Cody, Jungle Beast. He's another one that's pretty decent on figuring out how to trade with the VWAPs. I think Doom's been in there now 2 months or so. As far as having, but he don't get as much time to, you know, really focus his time on the charts because he's a really busy guy, and I get it. Yeah, I definitely been looking into it more when I can sit down and actually trade.
Yeah. But, you've been crazy busy with work lately. I know, you know, that is life, and you know that's the most important thing is making sure you're taking care of all that stuff. But yeah, this, you know, once the market comes back, you know, even smaller trades will end up being a lot bigger because, you know, we were talking about before, like back in the day, man, like altcoin season. And let's take a look at that. I would like to look at dominance because I know dominance is like through the roof,
right?
And like. Most of us are not Bitcoin maximalists. I know a lot of us have Bitcoin, or that's where we do our focus. It is the king. It moves first, all of that stuff. But dominance ripping up I would fair to say, I have not looked at the others chart today. I would assume that that thing is definitely down today if dominance is cranking.
Right. Yeah. If Bitcoin dominance is running up, more than likely your altcoins are either stagnant or down. Not down, but not making as much as a gain against Bitcoin.
Right. And I know for a while what Bitcoin was up for a little bit today, up almost 3% in the last 24 hours, of almost the same. So it's, check this out. This is actually pretty funny. I'll share my screen for a second, then we'll bring yours up. Right here. Bitcoin. Oh, come on, bro. So it's up 2.68% in the last 24 hours, but it is up 2.82% in the last week. So
right. So all its gains have been in the last 24 hours, pretty much.
Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, that's on a weekly look, right? Hopefully we have made the turn and we can say that we've bottomed.
Right.
Who knows?
And, with the way that the weekly looks, it's very strong. It's very, what am I trying to say here?
Bullish?
It's very probable that we have bottomed.
Bullish.
And that's just, I'm not saying we can't come down and sweep a low, but it's going to be immediately back up. And if it's not immediately back up, then we have a problem. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the bottom could be in locally.
Man, I'm sure all
for me to say that,
all 100 and some people watching right now just love to hear that. I know, me too, and I kind of thought that, but if you zoom out at some of the charts, you can kind of like, I feel like if you didn't catch some of those wicks, you didn't catch the bottom. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And we just had what a little bit of a shakeout. Let's see, what chart would be the best to look at? Well, you want to pull yours up, whatever you have up?
Yeah, I got what do I got on here? All right, I got Bitcoin on here right now.
Yes, I love this. Blocky the bull now.
Yeah, I see that. That's why I had to type laugh out loud. This wick here does scare me, but like I said, the last time we print, let's jump to the weekly. I'm going to jump to the weekly and get rid of these indicators real quick. Well, I didn't want to get rid of that, but let's go ahead here. All right, so this is the weekly. And the last time we print, a hidden bullish divergence was like last cycle. I think we did print it locally here, but it didn't really give us much. But I think we ran up like 100 and some % after that. But it did take a few weeks it was a little bit of up and down action. Now, in my eyes, I think this was the bottom. If it wasn't, then we probably will either come up to this 92 and back down to sweep these lows and then clear this imbalance here, because it's very small. But from this wick here to this wick here is a very small imbalance. So that is, it could be filled. It's no guarantee. We either sweep these lows and shoot off from there, or we have bottomed. And that's, just my opinion. So it's either going to be we come up to 92 and back down to, say 84, 85, where we've been resisting for the past, what now, like weeks? Yeah, this here. And just test this as support. The 80, even the 87 range, if we want to wick up to 92 and come back down and sit on this line and then up from there. Who knows? But momentum is coming up. It's coming in. Money flow is about to come in.
That's exciting. I think, if I were to look at any of the VWAP indicators, and this is on probably the wrong chart. What time frame are you on?
Right now I'm the daily.
The daily. Okay. Let me look. I can
jump to whatever you want to see.
Well, just looking to see what some of these LeapFrog indicators would show. And we've got a year to date that we're kind of pushing up towards that 91.1, you know,
Right.
but everything is currently like everything, you know, on a shorter time frame is down below. So I think judging on this, we might see like, and that's what you said, we might see a little pain before we see like the big show, before we start
Right.
to like truly go up, but
Right.
not make a new bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's if we do come back down to these lows, it's going to be fast. It's going to be a wick back up, you know, closing back above these lows here. What I really want to see is some closes above this 88. You know, start changing some structure here.
Yeah, that'd be good. 90, I feel like is the new like level, like everybody's mind is like 90,000. We just got to get back over 90K, man. That's it.
Right. Now, if you pull, I don't know if I might have to change the pull spot from there. But as you can see here, it may be even lower than that. Let me see something. Hold on. What is that? Yeah, 90K is the last range value area low. So if you pull this one to that zone, you'll see we're resisting right now on that value area high. We get back in this range, it's more than likely going to trade back to these highs.
It's just going to rip right like what it did before, right? Where we saw that where it just went straight vertical.
Right. Let me see.
Well, that's exciting. I know a lot of people are excited about that. That feels good.
Yeah, it's more like it's like my 88, 80, you know, 89 range. So if we more than likely next resistance is 89. And that would be that value area low, that upside range.
What's the time frame on that, you think?
I'm hoping like in the next week or two.
I kind of feel like we are on borrowed time. So it's April 21st. We have what? There's 30 days in the month. So we have about another full week and some change. It might just be a shitty April, right? And we had a bad February, and we were expecting we had a decent February.
February this year. Right here.
Okay. No, I mean it's just been down since December. So I know that we were expecting at some point some relief in quarter 1, but that didn't happen, right? And it didn't happen in March, and it didn't happen in April so far. Maybe, maybe we got to wait till May.
Possibly.
10 days, right?
I think it's going to be the opposite this time. A lot of people say sell in May and walk away. I think it's going to be a little different. Now, if you pull this whole range, we're back above the value area low, which means that we should be trading towards this point of control here, which not only is that the point of control, but it's also the 618.
Funny how things line up like that, right?
It is. I mean, it's literally to the dollar there. So that's a major zone. If we resist this, it could get ugly. But obviously, charts are going to fake you out. It's going to come up and look like it's resisting, probably come down a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's always going to want to fake you out. So that's the big key. It's a lot of confluence up here. That's why I had that zone marked out in red.
Yeah, really. So what does that actually say?
That says supply golden. So it's a supply zone because we moved down so fast from here.
Okay.
It's a golden pocket range, which is you see right here, and it's the point of control of this whole range here. It might even be the point of control of this upper. Oh, let me get rid of that. Might even be the point of control of this range up here. I don't remember. Yep. Even just pulling this top range here, it's the point of control. So it looks like the point of control doesn't even change when you pull this whole thing. So that's a pretty major zone that we want to get above.
And stay.
Yeah. And we will move back to at least the value area high at 103. And if we come up here, we're probably going to hit these tops again, obviously.
We got Doom talking about tariffs. Jesse saying 3 SMA is down, 15 SMA is down, 45 SMA is down, 60 SMA is up, daily SMA is up. What do you think? Let's talk about tariffs first. You think that's gonna is that going to be black swan or white swan? I know that that's probably not the right terms to be using for a positive news event, but
I think it's going to be good news. I think what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to end up making deals, on the exception of China.
Mhm.
I think China is just going to give us a battle either way we look at it, honestly.
I mean, it's us against them. It's like the world power, right? Like it would
Right.
make the most sense.
Right. That's why I think they're going to be the biggest challenge. How that goes, I'm still not sure with that, honestly. But I think everybody else is going to either come to an agreement or they're SOL.
Yeah.
You know, not that we produce a lot and give a lot, you know, to the free trade, but you know, hopefully that changes. Hopefully that changes a lot with what he's doing.
Yeah,
you know, I don't agree with everything Trump's doing, nor does anybody.
No, yeah, no, that's, I mean, that aside, you know, politics and all that kind of stuff aside, I just, you know, as far as like tariffs hurting or helping crypto, you know, we really, it's interesting. It's just, I almost feel like crypto is just numb to news now. You know, the fact that, and I've been in the space for many, many years. And, you know, I've joked in the morning show where like, man, this crypto project, you know, they put out a press release and it could have said nothing, but it was a press release. And so it would get headlines and those coins would pump like hundreds of %.
Right. And now we're getting,
you know, now we've got governments buying crypto publicly. We've got, you know, just everything in the world is happening and it doesn't move the needle up. In fact, everything's just dropping. So it's just really interesting.
Christ, my father-in-law yesterday, he don't even know how to use a mouse. You know what I mean? For a computer. And he says to me, what's up with that Bitcoin or Bitcoin thing? El Salvador's buying it. I'm like, yeah. He's like, what, you going to get me some? And I'm like, you know, I can get you some, but it's $84,000 a piece. You know, he's like, 84. What did it start at? And I'm like, you know, like $1 or even under. You know, this was back in 2009, 2010. And he'd like to, you know, shit himself. But
I can, you know, we can at least say if you've been here for a number of years, to whether it's people in your family, your friends, whatever it may be, we can all unequivocally say, I told you so.
Mm-hmm.
I told you so. We got laughed at. We were called crazy for years, every single one of us. But at the end of the day, we did it. We're right.
Yep. So hopefully, you know, I've only been in since 21 and I damn near got in the top. So this is really, truly my first bear market down. So, you know, and don't get me wrong, everybody on their first bear market is going to be scared shitless.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh my God, all my money's disappearing. And, you know, I didn't really get to buy the bottom like I wanted to.
You never do. You never do.
Right.
You never do.
So,
but I'll tell you what, man, later this year should be a lot of fun. It'll be like November on steroids.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I hope so. You know,
let's go. All right.
You know,
back to the charts. What else we got besides Bitcoin? Or,
well, what do you all want to look at?
Let's pull up
real quick.
What's that?
What do you want to? Here's your USDT dominance.
Oh, let's look up the others chart and the Bitcoin dominance too.
Okay, so we'll start with this one, but you know, this is pretty much an inverse correlation to Bitcoin. So when this is going down, obviously Bitcoin's going up and vice versa. And we actually broke this trend line. Not that that means anything to me. I just draw a trend because everybody's familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, until we break these lows here at, you know, 5.15% and running into 5%, this structure hasn't changed to me. And that's, well, we're starting to change structure here a little bit with losing 5.32. And this
Where
is on
we're currently at right now, right? Is that a wick or a body where we're at?
this is a wick right here, and right now we're currently at 5.38.
Okay.
So we're trying to close back above these wicks here. We'll see. We'll see. I hope this keeps going down. Obviously, I did have dominance, or USDT dominance coming up to 6.76, which could bring markets down quite a bit. And that's when I was thinking, 72K, between 70 and 72K. Whether or not that still happens, I honestly don't know. Nobody knows what is in store for USDT Dom, but
so what is the metric that this shows us? Is this based off of like the full market cap?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So it's Tether's dominance based on the entire market cap of crypto.
Yes.
Okay.
So, obviously when you're moving out of most people, when they come out of a coin, they're going into USDT or USDC.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much I think, oops, I didn't mean to do that. I want to say, here it is. Yeah. USDC is pretty much the same looking chart.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's pretty much
almost identical.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And this is all inverse to Bitcoin. So I'm always looking at this chart because it kind of tells the tale on which way Bitcoin's going to go as well.
Got you.
But
okay. Well, I guess that's really interesting when you think about it, because like what I'm thinking about it, like altcoins, like which way are altcoins going to go, right? So I've got to look at the dominance chart and then the others chart, get the idea of what are the altcoins doing versus dominance. And Bitcoin dominance has just been on an absolute tear lately. Like I think, I don't know, are we close to 65% at this point?
Yep, 64.42.
And we are cruising up with a body. We don't have a wick on that yet. We are bodied up, just bodied hard. Speaking of, smash the like button. I don't know how that relates to bodies, but
yeah, I mean, this thing just doesn't look like it wants to stop.
No,
at all. Could you imagine it getting to 73? That's crazy.
So you like, this is one thing that I'd like to talk about is, when do you consider the altcoin market to have like matured, right? When you look at Bitcoin dominance, because at one point it was at 100% clearly, right? And then as time, like more coins started to show up. So like at some point, we really have to say, okay, here's where we draw the line in the sand, and the true metrics that we can gauge on, start here. And I don't know if that's after the first crazy drop, or if it's, midway through, before it kind of, right in the beginning, after it starts to drop, it goes back up and then it drops some more.
Right.
Back in 2017, is that, I think?
What did you say about 17? Sorry.
Right here. Yeah. So you get like that big drop in black, where it comes up a little bit in white and then drops back down.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you would think that this would do nothing but go down the more coins that are made, Oh, you're muted, I think.
Me?
Oh, never mind. That was weird. I was looking at my other screen and I saw your mouth moving, but no words, because it's on a different computer. My bad.
No, you're good.
Yeah, you would think this thing would continue to go down the more coins that are made and stuff like that. Me personally, I'm looking for a flush out of all these rotten coins, honestly.
I kind of thought that was going to happen with what we saw in the market here, which I think to some extent you could probably say that we will.
Yeah.
I don't think, I put out a tweet this morning, and I would say it got mixed reviews, but compared to a couple months ago, I'd ask people, are they into low caps and into meme coins? And I would say for the most part, the answer was no.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people are shying away from them. Some people I know think there's going to be another meme coin season, and I did hear that a buddy of mine's into XRP memes.
I heard a lot of people are making really good money over there.
Yeah, he is. And it's not as diluted as Solana. Solana gets a bad name from that. But I did hear a lot of things about that. I'm kind of interested in that.
Me too.
whether or not this can continues to go up, I don't think it. We
It
don't want it
can't,
to break
right?
73.
There's no way that it can. I mean, now there's two things that I think allow kind of the narrative to continue to push, and maybe we do see it get up, but it's got to level off of there. How many times is it? It's 3 times it's gone up there, checked, and came back down. But it's at some point, yeah, it's the Bitcoin bull run.
Right.
That's what the countries are buying. That's
Yep.
what the institutions, they are buying other stuff, but that's what they are publicly talking about, right? Now, it would be nice if maybe we could cut some of these OTC deals and make these fuckers buy this shit on the market, and let's see some God candles. I mean, that's
Right.
what we've been waiting for, but
Yep. You ask yourself how much is actually on the OTC market.
seriously,
I mean, I guess
like,
as much as anybody wants to sell, but
do you just become like OTC? Like someone will reach out to you, like send you a message, be like, there's a buyer who wants to buy your Bitcoin for $1 gazillion.
right. I
They
guess
just don't
that's
want to
how
be
it works.
named, so they'll pay top dollar. It's a Nigerian prince. Just send your Bitcoin, and he's going to send you $20 million.
Right. Yeah. So, who knows with this thing? I think it's got to flatten out at some point and start coming
Yeah,
down.
man, it's got
It's
to
got
drop.
to.
Like what we saw in November, right? We saw a decent drop, at least comparatively speaking to what we've seen. Is that it right there?
Yep.
Or December, excuse me.
Right. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was like the end of November right here
We need
into
that.
December.
We need that times like 10.
Right. Yeah. Sort of like what we saw in the beginning of its time. I went to the daily, so it's going to take a second. Let me jump back to the week. This is what we want.
Give us
If you're in
that.
alts.
That's altcoin season, baby.
Yeah, and that was 21. Yeah. I mean, that's when stimulus checks and all that good stuff were coming out, and it's nuts. I can't believe this is up this far. I mean, I saw like 60%. I mean, what were you talking a year ago? I remember, you guys were talking something about, was it 65% or something?
No, like I think 60% was the highest, and like when it peaked out at that, when did it peak out at that? That was like the whole Benjamin Cowan thing, right?
Right.
I
Yeah,
think it
that's
was
like right
60%,
here.
and then it like shot up. We had that crazy wick where it like shot up to like 65%, or basically where we're at now.
Right. Yeah, and seeing that wick, I mean, it's obvious it was going to come back and take that. Most wicks do.
There's like some saying, right? Like what once wicks sticks or becomes a stick.
Right. And that's what worries me about this one, up at 73%. But it doesn't have to get up there. But you never know. We could, alts could just go sideways for a little bit, and all it takes is Bitcoin going up a little bit, and that'll take that up to there.
Mm-hmm. And maybe you get some of those bullshit projects to get weeded out. And I don't know how you erase. I mean, you totally erase market cap, but if you totally erase the market cap, but that dominance goes into I don't know how it happens. It would probably have to go into Solana if it's a Solana shitcoin, right?
Right.
But I know a lot of people are like me. We're like, after this bull run, it might be time to convert most of the stuff over to Bitcoin, right? You keep
It's me.
Yeah, right. Like I don't want to be speculating on prices. I want to be just a Bitcoin holder, but not be a maxi. I have like, a better mentally than that.
Right. Right. You still trade and, hold a few alts and I think a lot of people after this run are a lot of people have held from the last bull run and bought more going down and still hold that same bag, plus more that they bought, down at 15 when Bitcoin was at 15K. But I think a lot of people are going to either go into Bitcoin or more so into USDT or USDC and not so much hold them altcoins through the bear season again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm thinking.
I feel like,
No.
I mean, a couple people that I've talked to that's kind of the plan. I know you being one of them, some other people in our community, even some people in my family. It's like, after this cycle, and this may be a longer cycle than we anticipated. It may It may extend into 2026. Who knows? It may go for a couple years. And we've talked about that on the morning show where, again, the stock market is totally different, but we're an emerging market and a lot of things have a lot of growth and the metrics are, over the next 5 years or so. And so maybe we go on, an epic run. Like the US stock market went on a run from 88 to 2000. So that was a 12-year stock, run. Why can't crypto do something like that? Again, Bitcoin will do what Bitcoin will do, but the rest of the market could go on a run for that long.
Right. And I think that the 4-year cycle thing is going to slow down a little bit. Maybe not end, but it's either going to end or slow down. I don't see it sticking to where they're going to let us keep getting these gains, I guess, every 4 years. And I'm not saying you can't make massive gains, but I just don't think it's going to be as predictable as it has been the past, 10 years.
Well, you and I were looking at a chart, and I can't remember which chart it was, but over the course of, I think it was like the course of a couple of years, and you look, that it's up and down, up and down, up and down. And if that's what crypto did, if it was just a volatile asset that just went up and down and you could chart it and you could understand it and you kind of knew where things were headed, general consensus, if we were going up or we were going down, I feel like it would still be an easy trade. I'm going to cautiously say that, but I feel like it would be something that wouldn't be too hard to accomplish all the time if it was just, ebbs and flow of volatility.
Right. I gotcha.
Hopefully that's what we see.
Hopefully.
All right. Any other charts we got? Or let's see, we were going to look at.
You wanted to look at others, or was it?
Yeah, let's pop the others really quick. So dominance, we see still just crushing it. And then there you go. Once those two charts, and that's what I look at, is altcoin dominant or Bitcoin dominance, and then the others chart, which is basically all of the altcoins, everything out of the top 10. And once those two things flip, boom, baby, it's on. Altcoin season is on, but not yet.
Yeah, and this is the weekly on others, 7.85%.
Looks like we got a little ways to go too. So maybe where's that wick go that is 2021? Yeah, where does that go all the way down?
This one here?
Yep.
Down to 5.6.
Maybe that's what we got to hit. And that's maybe it'll drop there while Bitcoin does its run up to 70s. And then from there we flip.
Right. It could, because we're now under this low here.
Right.
Well, actually, we're sitting kind of on it at this point, literally sitting on it. So if that low is lost, we probably will come down to that low. And that's what I'm saying. I feel like there's one more quick wick down for these alts. But I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be a quick one down, back up, and then we're off to the races. But
you feel like, and I've always felt like that is the number one move, right? Before we have any major decision one way or the other, any trajectory, what's the word I'm looking for? Where we go in a different direction. Man, I can't think of the word.
Reversal?
Yeah. In a positive or a negative way, right? Before we do that, there was always a crazy wick, right? And then from there, you get the price change and the momentum. That's the word I was looking for.
Right.
The momentum shifts.
Right. Yeah. And this others chart, it's just itching to get up to these imbalances here. And I don't necessarily trade dominances like I do charts, but it's just itching to take this up here. It's just itching.
At some point. All right, let's look at the Ando chart. What are your thoughts on Ando? You guys know I'm a mega bull. I am just a mega bull on Ando.
Actually, now that you look at it on the, like the daily, it's definitely sitting on that support right there at that wick. So that wick's filled. And that's on others. You said Ando?
Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to look to the chat and see if anybody made any requests. Drop them in there if you guys got anything.
And again, I have these lines drawn out just because it's familiarity with other folks. I don't necessarily trade them because until Ando breaks this 95, it's just either going to be sideways or down.
Yeah.
Until
even though it
structure changes.
Yeah. I know that this thing is it's written in the history books of crypto in the future. That it's going to be a major pumper. But yeah, it's been, it's everybody's just felt the same challenge for no matter what coin you're in, with the exception of a few here and there. I get that.
Right.
But since the the big run in December and everything popping down since then. Oof.
And if this is a head and shoulders, your breakout zones there, it does bring you up to about a 120.
Okay.
Which could put you at these highs here.
All right.
Because a lot of things are giving this head and shoulder feel. You know what I mean?
Right. And with that measured move, that's what you're saying, drops us up to, and that's over. And there's once we get over that threshold, I think the mental threshold now is $1 at Ando. So that'll be good to get up over that.
I agree. And once you get above that, you're starting to break structure. You're making a structure change in the charts. It's same thing with what you did here. Okay, this is sort of you want to look at these two highs here like you do here. Mm-hmm. We didn't break structure. Well, we did break structure. We come back down, back up. And once we fully broke structure and started closing candles, it was off to the races. Same thing over here. Coming down, you break structure, you're off to the races.
Boom.
And that's
almost
just
like you gotta get in the pickle jar when you got the weak hand or the limp wrist. You gotta do it a few times, and then boom, exactly. You're in the pickle jar.
And that's just how I've been training myself. I'm training myself to not use indicators.
Okay.
And that's just my style. That's
what are these Heikinashis, or these are just hollows?
These are regular. Yep. So if you want to jump to Heikinashi,
no, you don't need to do that. I like to trade on Heikinashis just because it shows you the momentum. Basically, it's right. To me, that's another indicator.
And then with like Heikinashi, a lot of people say you want to either long that first non-wick candle. So right here would have been a good long to jump in at 76 cents. I mean, you probably wouldn't have got in on this exact candle because you wanted to close and make sure there's no wick. Mm-hmm. But even up here, you're safe with, jumping in here and putting your stop loss below that last candle. Your momentum is strong up. But me, I'd like to break some structure here and then, but you do what you want. It's like, I think, like, say you jump down to the 24-minute and go back to regular candles. Inside your 24-minute, you probably do have structure change. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we've already broke structure on the lower time frames back at, April 9th. We are coming back down into it, but you're still making higher highs here since April 16th.
Momentum. Yep. Taking us in the right direction. I love to see that.
Yep. I like I said, I think Bitcoin has made a local bottom.
Well, that would make a lot of sense. It's really interesting how far it did go, and even there's some of the projections for people to talk about going even lower than it was. Let's see, what else do we have? We've got shout out to Ellie, shout out to Neil's in the house. Let's go, both of you. Po Man 13.
What's happening?
What's happening, Po Man?
And I keep forgetting that it's both of our chats here next to us.
Oh yeah, me too. Shout out to all the chats, everybody chatting.
Right.
No matter where you're chatting, you better be chatting. You better be smashing those like buttons, or we're gonna find you.
Looks like between both of us, we got about 255 watching.
Love that. Thank you guys for being here.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's see. So Neil said quant. What do you think about that? QNT.
All right. I think I have it down here. No, I don't. All right.
I don't think I have that one saved on my list either.
I don't know which one's the best here to look at, so we'll look at Binance just because it probably has the most volume. I don't know why my TradingView does that. When I pick it, It doesn't pop up. I got to go click it in the.
I know. Why don't they just go to the chart? Why do I have to click the chart button or like the thing? Just
And is
open
this right? 68 cents or $68? Is that right?
Let me look at
It looks like something was chopped off here. Like, yeah, I guess it is right.
66, 67, yeah.
I like to close that just because it gives me more room.
What time frame is this?
This is the daily.
Man, I'll tell you what, this is a great time to buy it if it's going to make its comeback. This is
Yeah, I don't even think it's ever been this low. This yeah, back in 22. But that's bear market there.
That's wild, right? We're at bear market prices on a lot of things like Pith. Pith was the graph was they're below, like at historical, they're the low all-time lows, lower than bear market prices right now, which is crazy.
Yup, 61% down from that high in November, which a lot of alts did top in November, between November and February of November 24 and February 25. I mean, on a macro, time, lower lows is never good.
Never good.
You know what I mean? So you want to get back above 170, which sounds crazy, but you want to, to start making structure change here.
That's crazy. And when you see another one of these charts, like where this thing has been and where it's at now, crazy.
It is like, and you sit there and wonder, will it come? Will it come? When was it? Okay, so this is just giving us data back to July 21, which I feel like Quant's been on Binance longer than that, but
yeah. According to CoinMarketCap, this goes back to about the fall of 2018.
Okay, yeah. So this is missing a little bit of data, but I don't think it ever was higher than 430. What was the high?
428.38 in 2021. Yeah,
this is the high. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look great, but if you believe in Quant, this is the time to buy. Absolutely. It's kind of the only time to buy.
And if you've been holding and you round tripped it, don't sell it now unless you're just ready to forget it.
Yup. If you round trip this and you're down on you're still down in the red, I would buy more. That would be my choice. Because even getting up a half retracement here, coming up to $112 will put you in the profit and you can get out. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't realize that, just bring your average down and a little pump, you can get out in the profit.
Right.
So, but honestly, it doesn't look great, but it is a time to buy if you believe in Quant.
I would exact mundo what you just said there, but definitely, man, it was like there's a lot of coins that look like that right now, and it's just the question is, are they going to survive? Like you said, like are they going to come back? Are they are any of these coins the chosen ones to not make the trip back to the next part of the run? Like, is that all part of the plan? Anything that died out like this, like RIP. But if they stayed up and they got some staying power to it left, like those are the projects that are going to stick around, that are going to make it through this.
Right, I agree. And it's so weird because a lot of projects that actually do something, like have utility, are the ones that struggle most. It's so strange, but it's true.
Crypto's an interesting place. Gold just hit an all-time high. And I see somebody putting a Crypto Billy. Was that Crypto Billy saying something about gold?
Billy, what's happening, man?
What's happening, Billy?
Yeah, gold. Here's gold.
Wild.
It is wild. And it just continues up. It's when this starts coming down, we have an issue. Actually, going up like that, it's kind of it's sus, but I don't know. That's crazy.
That looks like a very natural spot for it to come back down to, right where you have that line.
Right. Yeah.
We got 4 touches.
Yep. And then the breakout. And this is what, the daily? What's the weekly look like?
Whew.
Jesus. Yeah, gold's kind of acting like cryptos.
I would say that this is not the time to buy gold. Like, you don't want to buy the top. Wait for the thing to come back down. There's also, yeah, it looks like we've got some opportunities to maybe get into gold later in the future. After the bull run, guys, we got to get those crypto profits, and then you can get those precious metals. But
right. And if you have gold, now is the time to sell it, really.
Pull those profits.
Unless you're just a hodler and you're just going to hold forever. But if you're into making money, now's the time to sell gold.
What if it's my grandfather gave me this gold coin? Like,
right. Then you're going to hold it probably forever.
You're going to round trip that thing. But if you
you're not even going to think of that coin as profit because you're never going to sell it.
That's very true.
You know, it's more sentimental value.
Unless grandpa would want you to sell that thing and get that profit, man.
Right. You know, if your grandfather said, here, sonny boy, I'm going to give this to you. And, you know, in 50 years, sell this when it's $3,430.
Gramps, I remembered.
Right.
Oh, shit. That's funny.
That's crazy. Well,
damn.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens with gold. It's funny. At one point, there was a crazy correlation between the gold price and Bitcoin. Gold was going down while Bitcoin started going up, but I feel like that has gone away.
Right. And that's, yeah, I see what you're saying. Right. Look at that cup and handle.
Oh, baby.
And I want to see something real quick because that's about right there to here. I mean, it's already past that.
Oh, will you do me a favor? And then I know we got to get out of here. We're darn near close to an hour. Well, I've been talking about this on the show, and maybe someone else can take a look at it for me. But I call it the Long Con Cup and Handle by Solana. If you pull out a very long time frame on Solana, you could see the inner workings of. And I say Granny dropped the cup, so it's got a crack in it.
Okay, perpetual is probably a good one. Let me find a good soul chart.
Oh, is that my problem? Am I looking at a perpetual chart?
This is probably a good one. This should be the history of Solana.
I have a spot. Okay. And if you do the weekly.
Okay, I'm on weekly.
And then just zooming it out from like starting at that peak in November of 2021 where we got up to like $259. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
So what we've got the cup. And then really Granny, like that whole little section gets chopped out of the cup because what happened is Granny dropped the cup. Here, it maybe would help if let me share mine.
So you're talking about this right here. That would be the whole cup, but Granny dropped it and broke it here.
Right.
You can even
now we're working on the handle.
It very well could be. I mean, handles, I don't like to see retrace more than half the cup. That's just my opinion. It's not invalid if it does. Invalidations, I think, more down here.
If it breaks
right. I don't remember the specifics on that. I mean, it's literally came back into its golden pocket and working its way back up now. If this was to lose like $72, it's down from there.
It's done.
Yeah.
Well, here, let me just not that I'm not trying to validate my my thesis here, but here's how I've got this kind of drawn out.
I gotcha.
So this whole section was where Granny broke the cup. So we had to just throw some Bondo on it or whatever so she could keep drinking out of her favorite mug. And then now we're seeing the handle pattern pull up.
Nice.
A little bit. There's an espresso cup now. Now she's drinking out of an espresso cup.
Right. The cracked cup and handle. I like it.
Oh, man. Bro, this was a lot of fun. I know that we were talking in the chat group, hopefully about doing this more often. Let me know. This is great. We can keep looking at these charts and bouncing ideas off each other and keep trading and making it.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I'll jump on anytime. Any days I'm off, which I have a lot of time off. So as the year goes through, the next probably month and a half, I'm gonna be busy as hell at work. But yeah, I'm willing to jump on whenever, man.
Oh man,
And I'm normally home at this time anyway, so
perfect. And we've got, if the whole idea of the second half of the year is where the explosive action is going to happen, that gives everybody plenty of time to stack some chips, learn some things, and get ready.
And I'm pretty sure that there's not many that's watching me that aren't subscribed to you and vice versa. But if you're not subbed to me, or if you are subbed to me and you're not to J Chains, go sub to him and vice versa. If you're subbed to J Chains and not subbed to me, hit me up with a little sub.
Boom. And if you are watching the description over on YouTube, I've got the link to your X, which then can take you to the YouTube as well. So make sure that you subscribe on YouTube, follow on X, my guy Blocky. Thank you for all the help looking at the charts today. I appreciate you, my brother.
Hell yeah, and I appreciate you clarifying a little bit of the flop and groper indicator, which I know a bit about it. It's just, I just was interested in how you traded it.
Yep. So right now it's baby steps for me. I'm just kind of learning. So just going on some scalp trades right now. But as you can see, I'm going to post this thing right. Well, see, that's the thing. For whatever reason, you can't see if I go too close. 8 in a row, 8 trades in a row. So we're stacking up a winning season here.
Nice.
Make sure you guys get in the trade squad. Click the link down below. Get in the trade squad. Click the link in the bio. Get in the trade squad. Let's trade out Phemex. No KYC, no VPN, no nothing.
Hell yeah, brother.
Let's go.
Hell yeah.
All right.
I just don't have as much energy as J Chain.
Sometimes you just got to take a deep breath and go for it.
Now I'll get there. What's funny is, before you go, funny is I was going through my shorts and I was looking back from when I started. You can already see my energy going up.
Yes.
How I present myself and stuff like that. So I'm getting there.
It's all in a process, man. Let's get it.
Oh yeah. And I thank you all very much for watching. I appreciate you having me on once again. And that's pretty much all I got.
That's it. All right. You guys know the drill. Make yourself 1% better, and we will see you tomorrow. Adios.